G'day folks, and welcome to yet a very action-packed week in review where we saw unprecedented changes announced by the federal government to open for inspection rules. Now in the past or recently you were still able to go and do a private inspection, one person at a time. However, unless the vendors are vacated, that is now a no-go zone. Nope, can't do it anymore. Now, I don't know about you, but from a practical perspective, that's going to be very interesting for buyers. I wouldn't be plonking down hundreds of thousands of dollars if I couldn't get through and check the property out. I mean, a lot of times it's about feel, isn't it? How you feel about the property. Anyway, I guess it's going to be watch this space. In fact, I was chatting with an agent yesterday and she said what they've found is they're getting vendors who are getting caught out because they've bought before they've sold. Now, it's going to be very difficult for those people either to A, move out, or B, it's going to be costly. Some perhaps will press on with an online campaign, but I think you'll find many may have to withdraw. But what do you do if you've already bought? I think it's going to be very interesting times over the next few months. So for property, just watch this space. What I can tell you though is Propertyology head of research, Simon Presley, well, he believes we're going to see yet another property-led recovery. He said as the property market led the way for past economic downturns, and again it will be the way forward. Why? Because it is a shelter that is an essential commodity, having a roof over your head. He said if you want to predict the future, you've just got to look at the past. Real estate led us out of the doldrums after the 1991 recession. In fact, back then, can you remember, interest rates hovered at around 10% that year and for the subsequent 2 years. Over the 3 years ending 1993, all the capital cities produced property price growth. Now they ranged from a tiny bit of growth from in Melbourne of 2% up to a staggering 27% in Perth. Regional property markets, well, they were solid. In fact, they were booming. Townsville, well, it went up by 37%, Toowoomba by 33%, and Wagga Wagga in New South Wales, well, it climbed by 22%. And it was a similar story 12 years ago. I can't believe it's already 12 years since the GFC, since the global financial crisis. The biggest economic downturn in history, says Presley, with property prices again increasing in 8 out of 8 of the capital cities over the 3 years ending 2010. I wonder if what's going on now will surpass that. That said, the RBA, I can tell you, they've decided, and again, no surprises there, they've kept the official interest rates on hold, which does indicate we've got a financial system that's resilient and we've got an economy that will recover as soon as this virus is being contained. The governor of the Reserve Bank, Philip Lowe, said there are some signs that markets are more efficient, or rather they're working more efficiently than a few weeks ago, and I think that's just out of necessity, really. We've got Australia's extensive stimulus packages together with complementary measures taken by the Australian banks. That'll soften the expected contraction and help to ensure that the economy is well placed to recover once the health crisis restrictions have been lifted. Lowe said these various responses are providing considerable support to Australian households and businesses through a very difficult period. The governor, in fact, he said the Aussie financial system, well, it's resilient, it's well capitalised, and it's in a strong liquidity position with these financial buffers available to be drawn down if required to support the economy. You may well remember that Australian banks and authorised deposit-taking institutions, well, they've got access to at least $90 billion in funding to help Australians. Now, credit files, it's an important issue right now. For those of you that are concerned about the impact COVID could have on your credit file, I can tell you that home loan customers will not, I say will not, have their credit file marked with an adverse rating if they lose their jobs. All they have to do is contact their bank and ask for a repayment deferral. Now, the Australian Banking Association has announced that bank customers applying for repayment deferrals who have not missed a payment or hardship flag will not appear on their credit file, and that's great news. So the bottom line is banks will not notify credit reporting bureaus of a customer's missed payments during the deferral period. Now, I've got to say, no doubt, that's going to be a real welcome easing of some concerns for consumers. Give them some peace of mind when entering into these loan deferrals with their banks. Just the fact that their credit rating's not going to be negatively impacted. I can tell you Fiona Guthrie, CEO of Financial Counselling Australia, well, she says some of their financial counsellors are getting questions from clients about the impact of virus-related hardship on their credit reporting scores. She said that the announcement by the ABA put the matter firmly to rest, which is lovely. She said when it comes to interacting with the banks, and she said we welcome it strongly. Good news for first home buyers with the federal government announcing that it's granting an extension for first home buyer approvals for the first home loan deposit scheme. So if they haven't found a property within the 90 days because of the coronavirus lockdown, they will be able to get an extension. Now, I can tell you also that Angus Sullivan, who is the Group Executive for Retail Banking Services at the Commonwealth Bank, he said, well, the extension will give their bank customers 6 months to find a property and ensure an assurance that their place in the scheme is safe. In summary, there is a string of evidence actually across the country that demand for property remains solid during this crisis. Inquiries for units in Brisbane developments have risen a staggering 82% in the last month compared to the same time last year. Now, let's remember though, it would be coming off a low base, and I think also strongly impacted since foreign investment dried up and since the government really put the screws on that. Also, interest in houses off the plan is up 28% according to realestate.com.au. Agents are saying that the attraction with buying off the plan at the moment is that you only need 10% now, and then when settlement occurs, let's say in 12 to 18 months' time after the virus situation is over, so you can plan for it. In fact, Brisbane marketer Simon Caulfield said, well, I think this market is actually getting apartments away at these prices, shows that the housing market isn't as bad as people have interpreted it to be right now. I can also say that other reports from Sydney, Melbourne and Adelaide reveal that prestige properties, well, they're still selling in some cases well above their reserve. In fact, Adelaide selling agent John McRosty, well, he said for serious buyers, the coronavirus has not been an issue. He said people want good quality properties in good locations, and there's just not much stock around. So, friends, be well, take care, keep your social distancing in place, have a wonderful week. Phil Robertson from Phil Robertson Property saying happy Easter and bye for now.